Hey you guys, I'm Kiara Selena, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the things you need to know before deciding to become an LPN. Stay tuned. Hey you guys, for those of you who are new, welcome to my channel, Nursing with Key, where I make a whole bunch of nursing related videos sharing tips and tricks that I've learned along my journey to help you guys have the smoothest nursing journey. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification button if you're into nursing videos. I have a whole bunch of videos that would probably be helpful to you, so don't forget to do that. And for those of you who are already subscribed to me, welcome back to my channel. Once again, I just want to apologize for going MIA. I know that the last video I posted was probably about 3 weeks ago. I've been slacking really hard, but I've been going through some things in my life, and yeah, I kind of just needed to keep to myself for a little bit. I went on vacation, went to Michigan, saw my boyfriend, and now I'm rejuvenated. I'm back, I'm feeling good, and we're back with the consistency. I have a whole list of videos, really good videos that I think could be really helpful for you guys, so stay tuned for that, and I hope you guys forgive me for disappearing. So like I stated in the introduction, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the things that I feel like you should know before deciding to become an LPN, or the things that you should consider before becoming an LPN, because every day I get messages, I get a lot of comments from people who are really stuck between whether or not they want to decide to become an LPN or an RN. And so I think that this video could be really helpful to you guys and can help you guys gather up all the information that you guys need in order to make that final big step. So let's get into the video. So, the first thing that you need to know about becoming a licensed practical nurse is that you are an entry-level nurse. So you are really at that first step in nursing. There are different types of nursing, different levels of nursing, and as a practical nurse, you are the very first, you're at the very first step. So you're an entry nurse. Now, even though you are a nurse, an LPN is a nurse, an RN is also a nurse, and even though our scope of practice is similar, we do a lot of very similar things and we work very closely together, as an LPN you are a step underneath the RN, which takes me to anything like me and you like working independently, you like really being involved, you like making decisions independently, LPN might not be the best decision for you. Now, there's a lot of things to consider, which we're going to talk about later on in the video, but I'm going to tell you why. As a licensed practical nurse, you are not the person who is solely responsible for the assessment. You are aiding or helping with the assessment. And I was watching a very good YouTuber, I forgot his name, but I'm going to put it somewhere here, and he explained it very well. As a practical nurse, you are not really assessing, you are more monitoring. So for example, if you go into a patient's room and you see that a patient's condition has changed, or a CNA comes to you and tells you, hey, Mr. Smith looks really funny, or Mr. Smith has this and this, then you're going to do an assessment. It's very tricky. You're going to do an assessment, because if you go and you're looking at a person's you're doing a head to toe to see the patient state, you're assessing, but you're not going to be the first to document it. So you're going to look at your patient, you're going to evaluate your patient, and you're going to look at the signs and symptoms that the patient presents, and you're going to go to the RN and say, hey, Mr. Smith presented this symptoms, signs and symptoms. I think he may have this. Then the RN will say, okay, well, let's go check together, or I'm going to go check. She or he will go look, and they will say, yeah, you know what, I do agree that this may be what the patient has, or no, I don't agree that this is what the patient has. I think the patient has this, so we're going to take this plan of action, or we're gonna do this from now on until we get until we can get a doctor to come see us. And then once the RN decides what we're gonna do about the problem, then you will start to implement it and give the medications and do the things that you need to do in order to get the patient back to a healthy state. So you are not the person who is making the decisions. You're working very closely with the RN, but the RN is a step ahead of you. So like I said, if you are like me and you like working independently, then the RN route might be a little bit better for you. And for those of you who are going to say, well, if you like your independence so much, why did you choose the LPN route? I'm going to say this for the 700th time. In Canada, where I live, only one province. If you guys in the States don't know what a province is, it's kind of like a state. So there's one state or one province that offers the ADN program, and in the rest of Canada, you have to have a bachelor's in nursing or bachelor's in science of nursing to hold the title of a registered nurse. So that was the next thing that's really important for you to look at is, what is your ultimate goal when it comes to becoming a nurse? What where do you see yourself working? Where do you want to work? Do you want to work in emergency or an ICU? Or do you have a dream of doing air ambulance or things that are very demanding where patients are in very critical care, critical conditions, I mean? If those are your goals, then the RN route would probably definitely be better for you. You need to understand that the sicker the patient is, the more the patient is going to see the RN, because the sicker the patient is, the more chances the patient is going to be on IV medications. Now, I know that in the States, LPNs are only allowed to do IV fluids, so NS and DW5 and things like that. But in Canada, it's a little bit different. Now, I know that in the one province that does have the ADN, LPNs are also only allowed to give IV fluids, but in the rest of Canada, LPNs are actually allowed in a lot of places to do IV therapy, and that's because there are no ADNs. The LPN program in Canada is a 2-year college program, so it depends also on where you live. But like I said, if you want to work in like very high stress places where there's always crazy things going on and patients are in very critical conditions, then the RN route would probably be better for you, because practical nurses do take care of people who are very sick but who are stable. So that's another thing to take into consideration. Think about what you want to do at the end of the road. And even if you want to do that, it doesn't mean that you should most definitely go the RN route. There's nothing wrong with taking baby steps. But if you know that this is what you want to do, why not just get into it? Another thing you need to think about is your personal situation, because everybody's situation is not the same. Some people are mothers, some people have children, you guys have bills to pay, car notes to pay, and you are just not ready to make that time sacrifice just yet. You know you want to do nursing, you know you want to get your feet wet, you want to know what it's like, but you have so much responsibilities that you cannot make the sacrifice to, put in the extra time just yet. And if that's you, then the LPN route might be a little bit better for you. But if you are still young, or you're still living at home and you don't really have much responsibilities, and you have people around who are helping you, who are supporting you financially and all of that, then maybe just go for the RN route. Just go get your prereqs and go to the RN and just get it over with. So think about your situation. What you also need to remember is that if you decide to go the LPN route, you need to remember that not only are you going to have to pay for school twice, but you're going to have to do the NCLEX twice. So that is 2 major board exams that you're gonna have to study for, and 2 schools that you're gonna have to pay for. Now, if you are financially in a place where you are able to make decisions like that, or that you're able to do both, then definitely go for it. But for people who are broke, okay, or who are not financially at a place where they can afford to go to school twice or pay for school twice, maybe it would just be best for you to go the RN and route. Lastly, remember that the opportunities that you have as an LPN, we briefly spoke about it a little bit earlier, but the opportunities that you'll be offered as an LPN depend on where you work. If you live in Canada and you are an RPN or an LPN, you may have a little bit more opportunity. You may be able to work in a lot more places. LPNs are being hired in hospitals over here like crazy, simply because of the IV therapy, because that is the big thing that really separates the RN from the LPN. It's IV therapy and assessment. But in Canada, LPNs/RPNs are doing IV therapy. So you have a lot more opportunity, I feel like, over here to work in a lot more places because of that. But if you were living in the States where, IV therapy is like not allowed or prohibited for LPNs, then from what I've seen from most of the people that I know who work as LPNs or work as nurses in the States, and from all of the people who have left comments for me under my YouTube channels, LPNs seem to be mainly hired in long-term care facilities or rehabilitation centers in the States. So if you have a big dream of working in a hospital setting, then the RN route, if you live in the States, might be a little bit better for you. Not saying that LPNs are not being hired at all in hospitals, they are, but from what I've learned and from what I've seen, LPNs are not being hired as much in hospitals. So if you do not mind working in long-term care, if you do not mind the repetition, then definitely go for that. And if you want to know a little bit of the difference between working as working in a hospital and working in a long-term care facility, I do have a video which I'll probably leave the link up here too. I'm working as a CNA in a hospital, but the same things apply so for nursing. So definitely go check that video out. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And guys, leave video suggestions down below for me so that I can continue to help you guys and be as consistent as I want, because it's really hard to, you know, think of video ideas. So if you guys have any ideas for me, leave them down below. I really hope to see you in my next video. Bye.